Hello, hello. Thank you guys for joining, whether you're here live or joining me via the replay. Welcome to another Cash Practice Training Tuesday. Thank you so much, as always. Today, I'm going to be giving you two strategies that you can use to really set your practice up, not just to survive, but thrive if we do, in fact, end up going into a recession, countrywide or worldwide, even if there is a second, even worse wave of Covid-19. These are things that we need to be thinking about as practice owners, as business owners. If you're not, and you don't do something about it now to prep, then you could be in really big trouble. And so I'm working very hard with my mastermind group and sharing some of the strategies here as well live and for my entire audience, so that you guys can start to do the work that we're doing in that group to really recession-proof and tragedy-proof and pandemic-proof our practices so that we can continue to thrive for years to come. So what are those things? What I want you to do, and this is one of those things where a lot of people will hear this and think that's a great idea, and then they don't act on it, and they really, really wish they had. So I want you to just set aside some time this week to brainstorm on what I'm about to tell you and to come up with some ideas that you can implement in your practice. One of them really doesn't take much work to put into an offer, to create this type of service or product. The other takes a little bit more work, but can be very, very well worth it. So the first is a high level, high dollar offer that would equate to a cash infusion into your business by having just one or two people say yes to it. So even in the middle of a terrible recession, depression, there are going to be plenty of people. Maybe you've had plenty of these clients in your own cash-based practice, but there's going to be plenty of people that are not really affected financially or mentally, which is really the biggest thing with the recession, is the mental effect it has on people and their willingness to say yes to, an out-of-network service. It definitely goes down. It's definitely hindered by a recession. But a lot of people, they have enough, enough abundance, enough, investments. They're not too worried about it. And in fact, these are the times when they are actually looking for deals, investment deals and things and opportunities where they can get something that would normally have cost much more at a bargain. And so an example of something like this would be to, do some marketing to especially your past client list, social media, your followers, these kind of things, and say, I'm putting together a package, and you have a package it's titled in a way that's very enticing, where essentially you're offering a really intensive amount of your therapy services or of your normal services at a discount. I'm not saying that we have to discount everything we do heavily, but in order to get someone to say yes to a really big package deal rate, and give you a much needed cash infusion, the per hour rate might end up being discounted. Of course, you reverse engineer it. And I just did this morning as I started to plan this out in my practice of, what are my costs per hour of, paying my staff to see patients and the other overhead costs, and making sure that I still will have some level of a profit from each of those hours. But at a time, if we really get into a big recession, if you're in a cash-based practice, or, a second round of COVID and your schedule is really, really empty, and you're just trying to keep people employed, this can be a way where if you get one person to say yes to coming in, for an hour or two a day to work intensively, whether it's to fix a problem or to work on performance or both, but to set them up with a therapist or a therapist and a personal trainer or whatever the case may be. You can slice this and dice it and add all kinds of bells and whistles and bonuses to it. But what can you offer at, say, a $5,000+ price tag where they have an intensive month of work with you or your staff? And yes, if they were paying you for that same amount of time with you, it would have been more than 5,000. But if you hadn't packaged this thing together and appealed to that one or two people in your list that might say yes to something like this, then you wouldn't have had that cash infusion. You wouldn't have been able to keep your therapists or your staff busy in the same way. If you're a solo practitioner and you're offering something like this and you only have 30 spots a week on your schedule, and let's say you're offering 2 hours a day, 5 days a week for 3 or 4 weeks to really go dive deep into a certain area, and really like maybe change something that they wanted to change or do something they wanted to do for many, many years, right? You offer something like that, Well, you might not be able to take on more than 2 or 3 clients at that before you're like, well, where do I put all my new patients? Really, it can fill out a schedule quite nicely. And again, in all scenarios, whether it's recessions or pandemics or whatever, there are always going to be people who are not as affected, who are able to still make their health and wellness a top priority and pay top dollar for it. So that's number one, is figuring out how you can package together kind of a platinum level offering that is still profitable, but it provides an opportunity and a discount for someone who's willing to take that leap and spend, a good chunk of change up front to do so. The second is, on the other end, is finding and putting together a micro offer. Something that you're not maybe offering right now or doing right now, but that you can package together information, certain things of value, maybe some hands-on work or some work with a therapist on telehealth, whatever the case may be. But a micro offer that people who are nervous but still need your help would be willing to say yes to that. Whereas if they're talking about, a full hour at $180 or $200 or whatever you're charging, that might be too much. But if you can get them in the door at a micro level and start to build that relationship, then they're ready to say yes to the full thing, to the full priced, service. But in the meantime, you're still making, some cash, you're keeping the cash flowing from somebody who would not have said yes if they didn't have that micro offer entry point. And so that could be a number of things. I mean, maybe you actually start a membership kind of, community, a private Facebook group, a weekly Zoom call, focused on your niche, and, build a community out of it of people who are still going to be getting valuable information from you, maybe some hands-on work, depending on how you package it. But long term, you're bringing new people into your community that are going to become customers for life. And so this is a great way that you can grow to some degree, even during a recession. I'm not saying you need to push hard for growth during a recession, but you can do things that set you up for success, not just making it through, but long term, by growing your influence and growing your audience and growing your customer base with a micro offer. I really like the idea of taking the information that we know that we're giving to patients all the time and making, whether it's a mini course or whether it's self-paced or you're getting on Zoom and just teaching them. I mean, that's an easy way to do it. You don't have to set up a whole Kajabi website, new course website, member vault, or whatever people are using these days. You can just say, look, I'm charging $19 a month and building out a community. We have a private Facebook group where you can ask questions, and we're going to do 1 or 2 Zoom calls a week where everyone gets on and we do XYZ, mobility routine, or whatever your niche is. You're working on that performance-based stuff. There's obviously legal implications, HIPAA, that kind of stuff that you would need to clear with your attorney. Make sure that everyone joining the group is signing off on everything they need to. But this is a way that you can, take small bits of your time to serve many at a more affordable rate for each person. So it's not like you're giving away your information or your services at a huge discount. You're just taking one effort each week or 2 efforts each week and serving a broader and broader audience at a lower price point, and then building that relationship so that you can get them to say yes, or a certain percentage of them to say yes to your full priced services. So those are 2 ideas I really want everyone out there in my audience to start thinking about and say, how can I quickly put together something like this without too much of my time or too much of my staff's time and money? It is possible, guys. It really is possible. And if you do this now and you get prepped for it and the recession doesn't come or there's no second wave of COVID, awesome. Well, those are still good services, good new revenue streams that you can add to your practice. There's nothing wrong with that. Right? Maybe you change the discount a little bit on the platinum package and make it a little higher priced. But, these are things that no matter what happens in the future, they'd be good to work on and do. And if we do get hit with a recession, you will be so grateful and glad that you did. So let me know in the comments what you think would be good offers. I'm brainstorming right now, so I'd love to hear your feedback. I'd love to get your ideas. Let's make this a discussion down below in the comments. So, and if you appreciate this or any of these Cash Practice Training Tuesdays, please give me a heart or a like of some sort wherever you're watching this on social media. Thank you again, as always, for joining me, and we'll see you next week.